Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven. I'm a pharmacist. I own 53 units of real estate and I help coach people to buy their first multifamily deal. So today I want to talk about the Lazy BRRRR method and kind of tie in with the regular BRRRR method. So the regular BRRRR method is you buy it right, usually at a discount. You're going to rehab it, so you're usually buying a fixer-upper, so make sure you buy right. You're going to rent it out, and then once you rent it out, you're going to refinance it using typically a debt service coverage ratio loan. And then from there, you hopefully pull out your down payment, you pull out your renovation cost, and you pull out your closing costs and holding costs of real estate, right? The holding cost of real estate is your monthly mortgage payment. So if it takes you 6 months to fix up the property, most likely you got a hard money bridge loan on this. So you know, if your payment was $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, times that by 6 months, your holding cost is $12,000. And then hopefully the new ARV, appraised after repair value, is going to be 25% higher than your all-in cost. So you're going to have to add in your purchase price. Let's say it's $50,000. And let's just say between your renovations, your holding cost, all that good stuff is another $25,000. So you're all in for $75,000. Ideally, your ARV should be about at least $100,000. So when you do a 75% cash out refinance, you basically can pull out a new loan, and that new loan will basically cover your old loan. It'll cover your rehab cost. It'll give you back your down payment and give you back your closing costs. And now you have the same capital that you originally invested. Then use that to go buy another property. So that's called recycling money. That's called the velocity of money, right? That's how, with the BRRRR strategy, you can scale. But obviously today, given interest rates being 7-8%, home values being higher, it's a lot harder to do the BRRRR, right? So, but regardless, the key is the first step is buy. You have to buy at a discount that makes sense on your numbers, right? So the BRRRR, you can do on anything. You can do it on a single family. You can do it on a duplex, triplex, fourplex, commercial real estate, apartment complex. Conceptually, the thing is, you want to increase the value, and hopefully the new value is 25% higher than what you bought in all in, right? So like my apartments. So for apartment complexes, the ARV is based on the net operating income divided by the market cap rate. For single family homes, the ARV is based on sales comps. So single family homes, what's that? 1 unit, duplex, triplex, fourplex. So I give this example a lot, but for those of you new, listen. So if you have 2 single family homes, same exact build, right next to each other. One rents for $1,000 a month, one rents for $2,000 a month. It doesn't matter what the rents are, they're both valued the same, right? Because for residential real estate, the value is not based on income, the value is based on the sales comps. Take that same example, and you have 2 apartment complexes. Let's just call it 10-unit apartment complexes. One 10-unit apartment complex makes $5,000 a month. The other 10-unit apartment complex makes $10,000 a month. And assuming expenses are the same, and assuming the cap rates are the same, the one that produces $10,000 a month conceptually should have double the net operating income, roughly. And you divide that by the same cap rate, it's worth double the value. So that's what you're doing with apartments. So that's what I did for my 26 unit. So I bought it for about $500,000. And I put in $300,000 of renovation to renovate all 26 units, plus a new roof, plus paint the exterior. And that took me about 2.5 years. And the average rent when I bought the property was about $350 per door, so times 26. So I think that's roughly around $8,000. After spending $300,000 to renovate the whole apartment complex, I was able to raise the rents to market rents, which was about $700 a door. So obviously during this time window of renovations, you're having tenant turnover, or sometimes my tenants would upgrade to the nicer unit because they want a nicer unit, right? But in any case, you're having tenant turnover. Either they're moving. moving to a nicer unit, or they leave because it's too expensive, right? But in any case, you're having tenant turnover. Either they're moving to a nicer unit, or they leave because it's too expensive, right? But in any case, you're having tenant turnover. Either they're moving to a nicer unit, or they leave because it's too expensive, right? And then from there, I was able to double my rents from $8,000 a month to $16,000 a month. And the expenses didn't go up that much more because you have fixed costs, right? Your insurance is the same, regardless if the rent was $8,000 or $16,000. The water bill is the same, right? Because I had 24 out of 26 units occupied when I bought it, and right now it's 24 out of 26 occupied. CapEx repairs is the same because, like I said, I have tenants living in there. What else? Property tax is the same. Common area electricity is the same. Property management goes up a bit because I pay them based on a percentage. So they're getting paid 8% of $8,000 a month. Now they're getting 8% of $16,000 a month. I think that's about it. So there's a lot of fixed costs with that. So obviously my NOI doubled, so the value doubled. So now it's worth $1.6 million. So this is another good example of a BRRRR. So I bought for $500,000. So that's roughly about $125K down payment. But keep in mind, I got my down payment cut to about $70,000 because I asked for seller repair credit. So I was all in for $70,000 down payment. Plus, I self-funded my renovation by pulling money out of my single-family home using a cash-out refinance. So I'm all in for about $370K. Let's just call it $400,000 for easy math. So, of my own money. So, basically, I'm all in for the property for $800,000 all in. And now it's worth $1.6 million. So, if I were to do a 75% cash out refinance, the new loan is going to be about $1.2 million. So I pull out $1.2 million. And remember, how much was I all in? I was all in for $800,000. So when I get that new loan of $1.2 million, and hopefully, obviously at 78% interest rate, my loan payment's going to be higher. So my cash flow is going to be wiped out, right? But I put out $1.2 million tax-free, and then out of that $1.2 million, I need to pay back my old loan from the other lender. I'm going to recover my down payment of $70,000. I'm going to recover my $300,000 of renovation cost because I was all in for $800,000. So on top of that, I'm going to pull additional $400,000 tax-free on top of that. So now, actually, I put up more money in the deal than I initially came in because I doubled the value. If I wanted to be conservative, and that's probably a little bit smarter, I would do a 50% cash out refinance. So instead of pulling out 75% cash out at $1.2 million out of that $1.6 million valuations, and these are real numbers because I actually got quoted from 3 different lenders, the ARV, the cash out amount, and they've given me 75% cash out because my debt service coverage ratio hits it because I generate 1.6 or 16K a month in income. But right now I don't want to cash out refinance because this is my cash cow, right? But if I were to do a 50% cash out refinance, it helps me in 2 ways. Number one, it helps me, my interest rate's probably gonna be a little bit lower. And then number 2, I'm gonna pull $800,000. So basically I'm gonna get back my down payment, I'm gonna get back my renovation cost. And then basically I have no money in the deal. So 50% cash out refinance, I have no money in the deal. If I do a 75% cash out refinance, I end up pulling an additional $400,000 on top of what I put in. And now I have, basically almost $800,000 that I could use to buy another apartment complex while keeping that same apartment complex. So, once again, to kind of summarize all that, for single family, you want to buy right, renovate it, and your all-in cost should be 75% of what the ARV should be. For apartment complexes, same thing, right? You want to buy it. You want to be able to increase the net operating income enough so that you can at least pull a 75%, increase the value by 25%, so that you can do a 75% cash out refinance and pull out most of your money. So, and this applies to anything, right? Whether you're buying a retail strip center, a mobile home park, an RV park, when you're in commercial loans, they just look at the net operating income. So that's why RV parks is popular now. It's hospitality, and you can have multiple streams of income. So if you bought an RV park, and let's say the NOI was $100,000, and your cap rate was a 10 cap, so it's worth $1 million. But let's just say you are able able to, do boat rentals, sell merchandise. You have a grocery store, you have car rentals, jet ski rentals, kayak rentals. You just add additional streams of businesses onto your RV park, and your new NOI is $200,000. And assuming the same cap rate of 10 cap, it's now worth $2 million. So you just doubled the value of your apartment or your RV park. That's what I was trying to do with my mobile home park, if I'm being honest. So it failed, obviously, but I bought it for $1 million. I put in $500,000 to fix it up and all that. So I'm all in for $1.5 million. But I was hoping that I could, by renovating the units, I can rent them out, I can bring in new mobile homes, and I would have effectively tripled the net operating income. And assuming the same cap rate of a 10 cap, I can basically engage a lender, do a cash out refinance. So maybe the park when I took over had 30 parks rented out or homes rented out. If I could get up to 60 to 90 homes, or about maybe close to 80 homes rented out, I can effectively triple the income. And then from there, I would triple the value, get a lender, do a cash out refinance, pull up my down payment, pull up my renovation cost, and then redeploy that to fill up the rest of the park, because 90 is only halfway of the park. So I would use that, pull up my money, and then go from 90 to 180 units filled out, and then do another cash out refinance, pay back everything, and then basically sit in this cash cow. That was my plan, right? And it had that potential because it was a 200 lot mobile home park. So I was hoping to rent out all 200 lots of homes, and keep in mind I had 200 lots, and each one could have rented out on average for $500 on average. So that's $100,000 a month, right? And that's about $1.2 million a year. And assuming a 50% expense ratio, that's $600,000 of net operating income. And you divide that by 10 cap, that's worth $6 million. So I was hoping to come in and buy it for $1 million, put in $500,000, I'm all in for 1.5. When I get midpoint, let's say $3 million, I would do a cash out refinance, pull out my original money, and reuse that money to go add more homes, do the same strategy again, and then when the park's fully done, it'd be worth $6 million. I do a cash out refinance, and at that point, I could get more creative, and I can add more lots if I want to go beyond 200. So that's what I was trying to do with my mobile home park, but obviously it failed because it's very labor intensive. So that's what people do with RV parks. So RV parks is catered more towards higher income people, vacationers, people who like to travel to national parks. So imagine you get, I went to Glacier National Park. I know Pace Morby owns an RV park at Glacier National Park. But what's nice when you own the RV park is you can do referrals. So you can partner with a local business, say, hey, if I refer someone to your restaurant, you give me 10%. That's an income stream. You could work with a kayak company and say, hey, if my tenant goes to your kayak company, I get 10%. Or I have kayaks myself that you can rent for, $30 an hour. And then, they can go rent it out. You can give them, you can do car rentals, you can do food, kitchen, whatever, right? You can get multiple streams of income, and you want to increase your NOI to basically under the same cap rate, you can pull out your money. So that's why I said one RV park, if run well, and it's not easy to run well, but if you have one RV park, which is hospitality, yeah, you could double the value 2 or 3 times. That's all I was planning to do in my mobile home park. Because my apartment, it's kind of stuck for the most part, right? I cannot do hospitality out of it. I don't want to do Airbnb, so you're kind of stuck. So that's why I'm kind of shiny object syndroming into an RV park. But I know RV parks take a lot of labor. It's very labor intensive. So, like I said, conceptually, you want to buy right. Regardless of the BRRRR method, you have to buy right. Whether you're doing single family homes or you're doing apartment complexes, RV parks, mobile home parks, retail strips, you have to buy right. That's the most important step. That's why it's first for the buy. And then, so my Lazy BRRRR is basically, buying right, but I'm buying right and I don't have to do renovations. That's why I'm calling it the Lazy BRRRR. So I'm just buying it. There's no renovations. I'm just going to rent it out, refinance it, and repeat. So I'm taking out 1R. And rehab takes the longest, right? It takes you 3 to 6 months to rehab a property. If you're doing an apartment complex like I do, about 2.5 years. So I'm more focused on the buy. So because I'm buying at such a steep discount to Lennar, the original price of the home was $320,000. They had an end of quarter sale because they want to get rid of inventory to appease their shareholders and to get inventory off their books. So they dropped the price to $295,000. So that's already a $25,000 discount, right? And then they have sales comps selling these exact homes for $320,000 like about a month or two ago. So I have sales comps to back it up. So their price was $295,000, but because I offered all cash, or if you buy multiple properties and bundle them together, so you don't have to have cash like I did. So my cash is me. It could be a line of credit, it could be a HELOC, and in my case, it just happened to be cash. So they offered me $38,000 off in seller credit off the price. So they gave me $30,000 seller credit. So I'm all in for $256,000. Well, now this is where the BRRRR comes in. So I just bought it, right? I just closed. Now wait for it to be rented out. So I've closed 2 weeks ago. I'm still waiting for it to be rented out. Fingers crossed that it gets rented out soon. But then once it's rented out, I'm going to engage either Convoy or Kiavi, their debt service coverage ratio lenders. And they take about 30 to 45 days to do the cash out refinance, depending on how long appraisals take. Another truck next to me. And then from there, what I want to do is hopefully appraises, I think minimum worst case is $320,000. So if you do 75% of $320,000, that's roughly around, I think that's around like $240,000-ish. So I'm all in for $256,000. So I might leave in about close to $20,000 in the deal if it appraised at $320,000. I'm gonna push for $340,000. Because I have some sales comps I can potentially stretch it. Like I said, it's a stretch. $320,000 is guaranteed. But if it's a $340,000, why $340,000? Because if you take 75% of $340,000, that's $256,000. And what am I all in for? I'm all in for $256,000. So I can basically pull up my original, all my cash I put in the deal. Yes, I have to cover closing costs, maybe $5,000. And then now I can use that to go buy another new construction, all cash, for the next end of quarter sale, which I'm waiting for, which is like probably kind of end of November. I think that's when the end of fiscal year is for Lennar. So maybe there'll be steeper discounts. So I know people who bought maybe 2 or 3 properties together for Lennar, and they do give you about a 10 to 15% discount on average. So imagine it gets really powerful. So let's just say I buy 2 single family homes. I don't have all cash, right? So each one is $250,000 or $300,000 plus $300,000. So I'm all in for $600,000. But because I'm buying 2 together and I'll close, they might give me a 10 to 50% discount. So they might end up giving me, if I'm all in for $600,000, they might end up giving me at least a $60,000 to $80,000 discount. So now I'm all in for each one. Let's just say it's $80,000 discount. That's $520,000. And you divide that by 2, that's $260K each, right? So you're getting a discount there. That's pretty significant, right? So that's $260K each. And then, like I said, if it's worth $320 to $340, you can do a perfect BRRRR and pull all your money. Now, if you were to combine both methods, you bought cash and you bought 2, maybe you can get like, an additional 10% off on top of that. So, instead of getting $8,000 off, maybe now you're getting $140,000 off. So that's where it gets even more powerful. But I don't have enough liquid capital to do that. But, well, unless I use a line of credit on top of my cash. But I want to validate the strategy first before I do that. But if I do see 2 deals I want, I will pull the trigger on that. But it has to work, right? It has to work. So that's Lazy BRRRR. I'll keep you guys posted. Like I said, I'm really hoping it rents out in the next 2 weeks, so that I can engage Kiavi, I'll engage Convoy, and see what's the best terms and the best fees. And then I'll keep you guys posted. So anyways, if you like this type of content, consider joining my free school community. And it's $1 a day. If you want one-on-one coaching, mentorship, join my newsletter, send me an email, click on my link down below. They're all down there. Otherwise, hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.